Hello darling, it was probably weeks ago that I was boasting in the last book video. I'll be able to do a new one in a minute. I've been reading so much and now it's been something like, I don't know, a month and a half. But anyway, here's the 10th installment of the book series. And let's just get started because I have a lot of titles to talk to you about. The first one is The Final Solution by Michel Chabon. Now, I love Michel Chabon ever since The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. If you haven't read it already, please do, because it's a beautiful book. He also won the Pulitzer for that. Anyway, this is the story of an old man. Now, it's never actually mentioned, but many, including me, recognize in the elderly man an old Sherlock Holmes. He's 89, it's 1944, he's retired, and he's perfectly content with just taking care of his bees. And then he meets this boy who's a mute Jewish refugee from Germany who travels around with a grey parrot on his shoulder. And the parrot actually speaks this series of German numbers, and the mystery unfolds the minute the parrot gets kidnapped. Can a parrot get kidnapped? I guess so. Anyway, Michel Chabon, The Final Solution. Then, ever since I started the book series, I've received mails about, asking, what do you think about Chuck Palahniuk? Here's what I think about Chuck Palahniuk. I adore the way he writes. I mean, sometimes it's quite hard and you have to be in the right mood to read it. But this is my favorite one. It's Lullaby. This is the story of how dangerous psychosis can be. The thing that I like the most about his way of writing is that he sometimes chooses a very limited vocabulary and very quick sentences in a way that can mimic how an average person would tell its story. And you get the perfect example in this one because the main character is a journalist. So he's really keen on trying to keep an objective view on what's going on. Next, Jonathan Carroll. I love Jonathan Carroll. Now, his Italian editor is testing my love over and over again by choosing to print his early works. Even though I think one of his best books is his debut, it's 1980, The Land of Laughs, beautiful book, I don't enjoy his early novels. I didn't like The Absence, which was the one I read before that. That was dated 1982. This is The Voice of Our Shadow, 1983. Great start, very good characters. You can feel what Jonathan Carroll is going to be because, there's Vienna, because there's these neurotic and charming women, and there's upstate New York, and there's the surreal elements and everything, but somehow it doesn't work for me. It feels like at the time, he couldn't really tame the surreal elements in the story. By now, you should know that I'm a zombie addict, and you probably remember when I presented you the Zombie Survival Guide. This came out in 2006, and to a huge success. It became sort of a textbook for the Z War. Now, here's a new one from Roger Ma, The Zombie Combat Manual. This is a technical guide, most effective weapons and where to hit them, how can you actually kill them very, very quickly, how you should prepare yourself. Let's see. There's exercises too. It's very, very practical. Should the war against the living dead actually begin? This is the book you should have. Nick Hornby. I am quite sure he was already in one of the first book videos. Anyway, this is Juliet Naked. Once again, there's the portrait of a nerdy, obsessive 40-something male. And once again, the obsession is music. Now, by now, we know that no one is capable of describing music and the emotional space it takes like Nick Hornby. And this one is no different. The very precious thing about Nick Hornby to me is that he seems not to be able to do anything really obvious, even though sometimes he seems just about to, so it's always surprising. Salman Rushdie, it's colorful, it's imaginative. This is Midnight's Children, and once again, this came out in 1981, and it has an element that's quite common in Rushdie's writings, and that is that the story of the book and the history of India go hand in hand. This time, they start the journey together because the Midnight Children's the title's about are the kids that were born on August the 15th, 1947. And that's the minute India declared its independence. Now, each of these children have something magical about them. They actually have abilities, and they're also connected by a mysterious and unbreakable bond. It's amazing because at some point the story ends and utopia begins. It's fascinating, it's brilliant and dreamlike. Fred Vargas. This one was unhappily translated in Italian, and the original title apparently should sound something like Those Who Are About to Die Salute You. This is a story, obviously, of murder and mystery. There's a Michelangelo drawing that's been stolen. It's set in Rome, with all French characters, and what's really interesting about this is that it's before the Adamsberg and the Three Evangelists sagas, and you can see the embryonic states of so many characters. The three main characters into this one, I think, are the embryonic idea of the Three Evangelists, and the femme fatale, to me, resembles Adamsberg Camille. Alan Bennett, Talking Heads, Volume 1 of 2. This is a series of dramatic monologues that were written for BBC and broadcast. 1988 was the first series and 1998 was the second series. They were played by such as Julie Waters and Maggie Smith, and Bennett himself was involved. Now, if you know Bennett's humor, you know that the good thing is that it spreads its wings from the most common situations, and sometimes it proves that logic can be a double-edged knife. Last but not least, I am totally in love with John Keats, and I think this came up already. I read this Italian biography of his. It's called Bright Star, and apparently a movie is coming out of this, or has already come out, I don't know. Anyway, I enjoyed the book a lot. You know, we have a lot of letters that Keats left behind. And I want to ask you, I was talking to my best friend and she said, have you ever thought of doing monographic videos? Like talking about one poet? It could turn out to be useful, maybe for someone in school or something. I don't want to give you the impression that I have anything to teach. I would have to study them myself. But do you think it could be useful or interesting or delightful in any way, to do monographic videos, especially about poetry? Let me know. I seriously hope that these suggestions were interesting, useful. Let me know about the poetry videos, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.